Welcome to Together We Rise.
Starring mother-daughter dynamic duo Alicia Schwartz
And Rochelle Schwartz.
in collaboration with M.A.P.S Global Events. Signing off.
Mwah.
Hello, everybody.
Welcome to Together We Rise.
So excited to be here tonight.
Yes, we are.
Right, Roche?
Oh, I can't wait to see this incredible, phenomenal interview with such a fabulous person. That's a very dear and near friend of ours, and that is Jeff Malone. So welcome, Jeff.
Well, let's just introduce Jeff a little bit deeper.
All right, we'll go deeper, Jeff.
He is one of the most amazing souls on the planet. He's got the biggest heart, I would say, in the world. And Jeff really is an amazing relationship and executive coach. He does a lot of strategic work for organizations, and he is Lumen Worldwide and the Center for Relational Dynamics. Sorry, Jeff. And he has been so close to our hearts for so long. And we are so excited to have him as our guest on our podcast. And so welcome Mr. Jeff Malone.
And thank you.
You're on mute. Hold on.
Oh, somebody muted me.
Okay.
I'm
You're
here.
on.
Thank you. Thank you. I love that. I should have you guys do all my intros.
Right?
Okay, we will.
No
For
problem.
a small fee, it's not a problem.
And I'm going to change the name of one of my businesses to the Center for Rational whatever.
Rational Dynamics. You like
Yes,
that one?
exactly. It's not like we don't need that on the planet right now.
That's for sure.
That's
oh, my
true.
God.
I'm honored to be here.
So grateful to have you. Okay, so the first thing we wanted to do, Mom, what did you want to do?
I always pull a card. And the card for this evening is Love Has No Obligations or Expectations. And I went into Debbie's book, Your Holiness, and I prayed. And this was, if I can find it again, the ghost. The hungry ghost.
So,
Okay.
of course, this is perfect, Jeff, because as you know, you are definitely one of Debbie's
right hand,
left hand, center,
upside down, inside out.
You name it, you are part of that whole team at the top. So we Mom picked something for you, really, and for the work.
Yes.
And here is what she picked.
This is what I picked. The hungry ghost. I allow your love to fill the hunger of my unmet needs. May the hole in my heart heal today. May the sweet nectar of your grace fill my ever-loving soul as I bask in the satisfaction of your nourishing light. And I just love that.
Yeah.
It was so perfect.
Yeah.
Well, it's got her all over it.
Yeah.
That's true.
That is so true.
That is true. So go ahead.
No, we're going to go into asking you, some stuff because we want people. This is all about people's stories, Jeff. And the reason that we wanted to bring this forward is to show people they love stories. And I think stories always help people just look at somebody else for inspiration to see what they did, how they navigated their life through their trials, through their tribulations, and how they worked through it and what were some of the tools they used and so forth. And it's really trying to get a community of people to really come together in one heart and one soul.
And also to know that they're not alone.
Right.
There's no separation between you and I and anybody else. And they're seen, they're heard, and nobody better than you could speak into so many things we're talking about. And I know one of the questions we had for you is, how'd you get into this work? I know you're, you know, really part of, part of the community of coaches where we were trained, Debbie Ford's work. So how did you, what made you decide to get into this kind of work? First of all, that's the question I have.
I want to answer that, but I want to make a comment, if I can,
Sure.
on what you read and what you started with, Rochelle, because it's a really important thing. And you two know a lot of my history because you went through a lot of it with me, but a lot of people don't. People look at me today and they see me in an amazing relationship, happy, everything going. But I can tell you, I spent a lot of years where that wasn't the case. Anytime you're on your fifth marriage, you have had difficulty in relationships. And I did. But you said something, Rochelle, it started, and it's what's made my relationship work. And it's really kind of the guide that I'm using. That, yeah, my wife and I, when we first got together, we made the decision that either one of us could leave at any point, that we didn't want obligation. We wanted to wake up every morning and decide to be together. And that's what drove us. We wanted it, that all feelings were welcome. There were no feelings that were blocked out, that whatever needed to be expressed, and we needed to be there for each other. And that freedom really creates something important. And I loved what you started out with, because the truth is, the way I look at love, we say we love someone, but what we really love is how we feel when we're with them. Mm-hmm. That we're loving how we are in that moment. And so when we work really hard on that, when we let that be what drives us, one, we're taking pressure off of our partner. I don't want my wife to feel pressure to take care of me, to do anything for me. I want to be there for her. So I love what you started with. And as you both know, Debbie liked to run her life on that way. That yes. She really didn't want to be a burden. She could be one, but she didn't want to be a burden. So, and thank you for giving me that moment because I loved what you started out with, Rochelle. It was really beautiful.
Thank you.
How did I get into this? Well, do you want me to tell you the truth or what I tell people?
No, tell us the truth.
What I tell people is that I was shanghaied by this crazed woman that dragged me into a program years ago. The last thing I needed was transformation because I had it all together. And this woman would not leave me alone and made me go to this workshop. I couldn't get away from it. It was. I felt like I'd been really abducted by pirates. And for those of you that don't know, Alicia was that pirate that abducted me, okay? She is totally responsible for me being in this work today. How did I get into it? I hit bottom. I ran out of, my stuff wasn't working. Everything I tried wasn't working. And I was truly unhappy and unable to create any of the things that I wanted in my life. And I just kind of said, okay, at some point you just give it up and say, all right, tell me, show me. And it actually happened. I was with one of the many relationships I have. I visited this woman in Boston. She broke up with me. I'm flying home. And in the Chicago airport, Debbie's book jumped off a bookshelf into my hands. I read it. The next thing I know, I've got Alicia calling me every other day, telling me to join this thing. And it was fortuitous that, it's one of those things where I felt like a hand reached down and said, here's where you need to go now. I prayed for it and it came through and I listened. That's the thing. You have to listen.
Yeah.
Because our fear will have us not listen. But if you listen and just trust, you'll go. So that's what really took me there. And what a wild ride.
And isn't it amazing? You said something really powerful, that you had to listen. Yeah. And, if you didn't listen, and this is for everyone out there, just listen to the signs that are being shown to you. Like you're saying, Jeff, it was so powerful. The book happened and that was it. And then here I am connecting with you, but you were also ready, and then, that old saying, when you're ready,
It just comes. I mean, the
Teach your
universe
peers,
will
yeah.
always support you in that. Always.
Well, Debbie had that great metaphor that, life is like a river, and
Yeah.
you can choose to swim with the flow, the current, or you can swim against it. And I'd spent many years swimming against it. And that realization of swimming with it, it felt counterintuitive. It felt weird. Everything inside me said, are you sure you want to do this? But I knew the way I was swimming was exhausting and I wasn't getting it.
Yeah.
You know what's so great? I always say this too. I wish there were more men that would step into themselves and really look and do some of their inner work. But what is it that stops them? What do you think is a man basically stops another man from doing and looking at themselves?
Or wanting to look at themselves.
You have to admit that there's something off, that there's something isn't working. And I think that's really hard. We're programmed as men not to have anything wrong. And if we do have something wrong, just to power through it. And most guys are not real comfortable asking for help. It's really difficult. So it's the combination of admitting that, and we get rewarded for helping others, for taking care of others, but that's what gets lost in that is ourselves. And I think a lot of men, they one, they don't know how to take care of themselves. Two, they're more focused on what can I do for somebody else. I mean, I look at guys and they're all wrapped up in their partner's problems rather than their own.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's true. That is so true.
In my mind, what you have to be prepared to do is be honest with yourself. Step back and be completely honest and ask yourself, is it working? Is what I'm doing working? And I think that's really hard for most men, because to admit that failure, to admit it's not working.
Do you think it's more of the younger men that might be more open to this than somebody that's older generation?
Well, yes, I do. The unfortunate thing with younger men is their glands really do impact a lot of their decision making. And it has a dramatic impact on their ability to see themselves, because that's all they can think about. But I think there's a movement towards that. I'm deeply involved right now with the tech community. I'm coaching a lot of people in the tech community, and the difference between the women and the men at the same age, young men and young women, it's radical. The women are together. They're focused on themselves. They're willing to do whatever work, and the guys really are hesitant. So I think we can pray that happens, Rochelle, but it's the programming's pretty strong. In foreign countries, I think it's a little better. Like there's some countries in Europe where it's a little better.
That's interesting.
Yeah, that is interesting.
That is interesting. What would you say to a woman who's in a long marriage for many, many, many years and has struggled in her marriage, but won't leave? What do you say to that person to show them what's available to them, or how do you do that?
Well, I take a different approach. If they're there and they've made the decision to stay, I try and get them to look at what they're getting out of staying. That to really look at, okay, you've made this decision and this is where you are. So there must be a reason that you do this. Because you're telling me you're not sure you like it. You're telling me you're not sure it works, but you're staying. So what are you getting? And basically trying to get them to take a look at, is there some underlying commitment that's driving you staying in this relationship? Is there some belief about yourself or the world that's having you stay, so that they can identify that? Offering people an alternative a lot of times is not enough, because people focus on what they have is safer than something that they don't know. It could be terrible, but at least they know it and they know what they're going to get. And so they get afraid of the unknown. So it would be that kind of conversation that, do your work, get your strength, get yourself strong enough that you can make a good decision for you. Stop worrying about him.
That's
So,
good.
so when you say, because I know so many people say this, and I don't know if everyone understands it, but when you say do your own work, what does that actually mean? Because everybody has a different interpretation to do your own work, right? So people
Well, I
out
think
there
it's different for every
listening,
person.
right? So what
Right.
does that mean? Like when you say that, say a person's struggling in their relationship, what could they do to move past that? You know, what can
Well,
they do
you got
to do the work?
Debbie had a really interesting formula. First, she wanted to uncover what it was. Then she wanted people to accept, okay, here's where I am. And then she asked us to find the gift in it too, so that we could, because we're doing it and it's good. So there got to be a reason we're doing it. So I try and use that is my basic formula, that first we do the diagnostic work. What's going on? What is it? What's troubling you? What is that? Can you accept? That's where you are.
Yeah.
Because if you can't, there's no way to shift out of something that you can't accept.
Yeah, and
You're
that's
stuck in it.
That's so
And
true.
that could take a long
Acceptance is-
time.
Exactly.
You know?
Acceptance is a ongoing
Yeah.
process, right? I mean, it
doesn't happen like this.
I know you and I and my mom could attest to that. It's not a one-time fix. It's an evolution.
Well, because consciousness evolves. And when two individuals like yourself, you've been doing this work for 20, 25 years. Well, your consciousness has expanded, and what were limiting beliefs and what were shadows at your beginning consciousness, you've dealt with them at that level. But as you expand your consciousness, the shadow doesn't go away. The limiting belief is still there, and we have to address it and deal with it at new levels of consciousness.
Yeah.
And I think that's a constant ongoing. That's why I think coaching and doing your own work, it's a lifetime thing. You don't get to the destination. I have so many clients that go, okay, I got it. I got it. I understand it now. I did my work. And a year later or 6 months later, they're going, it's all back. What happened?
Why is that? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's so true.
It is. It's so
and we
true.
hear it all the time, right? We hear it all the time.
Because things happen to us that really, we all carry some stress, traumatic stress around, and it affects how we do things and how we see the world. So
I think it's so fascinating because I know for myself, it's taken so many years to really come to a point where I can really accept and have peace with myself. And if I do get triggered, as you know, it doesn't hold me. I mean, I don't have that. I just need to stop and look at it and say, okay, what's going on with me? And you were terrific with me today. You really were. Because now I have it in my mind what I want to say.
And that's wait, before you say that, isn't it true? You always need a coach by your side because you don't get to the Olympics without a coach. So it's the same thing in life. You always need that person to show you what you can't see, perhaps.
And a cheerleader.
Right?
Well, I think people that want to transform, people that are on a spiritual path and want to mature and evolve and create a better life for themselves, that a coach is an ideal help. Not everybody wants that. And so, when we say everybody, a lot of people, that's not what they're here for in this lifetime. But anybody that wants that, I've been coached the entire time and I won't stop because I think it's a journey, not a destination.
Totally.
And I'm going to keep going. And
thank God.
Rochelle, if we reach a point where we trust ourselves, okay, what happens is when we don't trust ourselves, we drop into fear and we can't see things clearly. But when we truly trust ourselves, and what I mean by that, not just trust the people around us, but trust whatever happens, I can handle it.
Mm-hmm.
As you and I had many conversations, as you get older, I think it happens naturally because it's kind of like, look, I'm only going to be here so long. So, why would I trust anybody else at this point? Okay. But it's kind of the key that when you're sitting there and you're insecure about yourself and can you handle things, you drop into those places where you're second guessing and you're wondering. And that's where a coach can be so helpful in getting you clear. Hey, here's what's really going on for me.
Yeah.
So, Jeff, what advice would you give to your youngest self?
Ooh. Don't piss mom off. You know, stay curious, trust. You know, people are going to say things that about you that you're not going to like. Don't make it mean anything. I think it's such a hard time when we're young. We're so dependent in trying to create relationships outside of the ones we have with our parents, and we want to be approved of, and we want to be accepted, and we want to be loved. And so we really get trapped in that dynamic, and anything that takes us away from that, I think, undermines our self-esteem. And so there's this combination of positive reinforcement with reality checks that I coached girls sports for a number of years, and a lot of the parents just wanted me to be nice to the girls and play everybody and make everything go. Well, that's not how the world works. It doesn't. I mean, I love it when everyone can participate. When you get out in the world, it's competitive, it's difficult, and you earn everything. I mean, we earn what we get.
Right.
And so I was a little different than coaches in that time frame, that you earned playing time and you earned credibility with me, and you had to show me that. It was an incredible skill to teach a young girl. And it's just it's same thing that's true for anyone. Look, I can take care of myself. I can do this. I have it inside of me. And that's, if there's anything to get teaching a young person, you have everything you need inside you. All you need to do is use it. Just count on it.
That is so awesome, really.
I do agree with that.
I mean, think about all the young people out there.
Because I look at Rachel.
Yeah, our niece.
It's amazing.
Your
Well, yes, my granddaughter.
Yeah,
I mean,
look at your daughter. She's right next to you.
You don't have to look far.
That's for sure. But even looking at Rachel at 15, you know, I forget those teenage years.
Yeah.
So she's really into that. And
so cute.
And it's really is
So
adorable.
cute. Yeah.
But she doesn't let anybody get away with anything.
How'd she learn that?
Well, I guess she had some.
I think we had a lot, but I think my
Yes.
sister, of
I think it
course,
filters
through. Definitely filters through.
Yeah. Yeah. She speaks her mind.
It was
Isn't
safe.
that what we want?
Safe.
Yes. Oh, God, yes.
You know, we always said it's safe to tell us how you feel, no matter what. Even if
Yep.
we don't like it, we're still going to love you. It's just important for you to express it. So, yes.
Well,
Go ahead.
that's really at the foundation of this, in what we give young people. If they have that confidence, if they have that courage, if they have that belief in themselves, they're going to speak up and say what's going on. And you know, what's at the core of people not accepting is that they don't want to say what's really going on. It's like, I don't want to say that, I'm going to hurt somebody's feelings, or people aren't going to like me, or whatever. And that's where accept goes out the window.
Yep.
Because it's got to look different. We got to make it different than it is. Okay.
Yeah. I remember for years I struggled with just to be liked. I would do anything. Oh my God.
Thank God you're over that.
Thank God. That's true.
I'm more conscious of it. Let's put it that way. I can't say I don't slip, but I definitely have gotten more secure in myself to know, what works for me and what doesn't, which helps that whole being like thing. Because I know it starts with ourselves.
Let's face it, up until this generation, women really were, the expectations on women were really very different. And, being liked and being attractive, and it focused on a lot of surface stuff, and it's only been in the last generation that's really shifted around. Well, it's true.
It is true.
It's true, because
that's a cultural thing. And
yes, it is. It absolutely is.
And believe it or not, I learned something. Women have brains.
Yes, they do.
And they're really smart. In fact, if I had my druthers right now, they'd be running the world.
Okay, so I have
agree.
another question for you.
Yeah.
What's the one thing you want people to know about you? It's a good question.
Oh, well, yeah, I remember this. I remember this question, but I don't remember how I answered it. I'll just see what comes up right now.
Good.
Yeah, that's good. That's what we want. Off the cuff.
That I am respectful, that I am kind, that I am warm, that I take people exactly as they are, and that's okay.
That's so true.
That I don't bring a lot of expectations and allow people to show up and show me who they are. And you know, I really at this point try and stand in love. And I will be honest with you. I get a lot of people give me a hard time for that. Oh yeah, you stand in love, sure, yeah, with this world. But I look at it, and there's enough people right now that are doing the hate thing.
Right.
And when you think about it, it's okay. We've reached a point in our society where it's okay to hate.
Yeah.
That's not okay with me. Really not okay with me. And so I'm kind of I'm trying to emphasize more coming from love. Like everybody I know on Facebook, I wish happy birthday to.
Yeah.
Yes,
I try
you
and
do.
tell them all that I love them.
You
Okay? and I know a lot of people on Facebook, okay? There are mornings I'm doing 20 birthday greetings. But I try and bring love into people's lives every day. And I just think that makes a difference.
Yeah.
I think love is the whole thing.
And you
personally.
know, it reminds
I do.
me, you know what it reminds me of? I think you're going to know where I'm going with this. It reminds me of the story in Egypt when we were traveling on the bus in Egypt. And all of a sudden, there's 100 of us, and all of a sudden the bus got super quiet. And you see Debbie in the back, like, and we're all like, uh-oh, what's going on? And then all of a sudden you hear Debbie going, okay, everyone, guess what? We got to send everybody love in Egypt. Everybody. Because right now, that's what we need to do. We just need to send everybody love because we were in a dangerous part
of Egypt.
Well, you leave a really important part out, Alicia.
Yeah.
It was in the middle of a riot.
That's
They
it.
were taking over the
That was a
country.
riot.
We
Right.
were there in the riot in Alexandria.
Right.
That's right.
You know,
and here I am on a bus with a lot of Jewish people in an Arab nation. And I'm going, oh my God, I can't take these people off and walk with them. We have to figure this out.
Yeah.
And I will never forget Debbie saying, standing in the front going, everybody put your intention on love, love, love to all the people in Egypt. I don't care. Everyone put the
and they had
down.
their guns already.
I mean,
they were holding their guns.
And the minute we did that and we had a strong intention, we send love, boom, right away. All of a sudden, this teenager, two guys stand in front of the bus, leading us back to safety.
Yep.
How did that happen? Well, it's exactly what you're talking about. The power of love exceeds hate and exceeds anything that's going on in the world. That was such a great story. I
forgot that. It was the riot.
You remember the end?
What was the end? Let me see.
Well, the boat was leaving, and what happens is if the boat doesn't leave on time, it's like $200,000 an hour for them to stay. So they were leaving, right? They didn't care about us.
That's right. We needed to get back on time.
We got there. I was the last person up. Debbie wanted me to make sure everybody got off the bus. They're pulling the gangplank up as I'm walking onto the boat to get out of there because the rioters were around. It was nuts.
It was scary.
But that's what you're saying, right? Yeah. You're saying that love exceeds all. So that's a great story.
Love casts out fear.
That's it. It's like the shadow, right? When you bring love to the darkness, what happens? It evades, it disappears. And then all the
remember dancing with the Israeli soldiers?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
And all of them couldn't put their guns down because it was against the rules for them to set them down, but they danced with us with their guns.
That was in Hebron, right?
Yeah, it was in Hebron. And again, love.
Yes.
So these stories for everybody out there, it's so powerful because we get so sucked into the gravitational pull
of what's going on
of the world that if we just set the intent to bring love,
I
I
know.
mean, it's mind blowing. We've
Well,
seen
it
it.
wasn't who I wasn't. I wasn't that person for a lot of years. I was pretty driven. I was
understand.
pretty corporate. I was going for it, and I was not happy.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that a lot of ego driven?
Ego driven. Me?
Yeah. You were ego driven to get to. Why are you laughing at
Because
me?
I'm ego driven. Yes, Rochelle. It was all ego driven. But it was more than ego driven too. It was what I was supposed to do for me to be a successful guy. Remember, I went to Stanford and got an MBA, and if you go to Stanford and get an MBA, there's a path you take, and you're incredibly successful, and you make a lot of money, and you're in corporate, you're on Wall Street, or you're here, or you're there. I didn't do that. I took another path, and so I was in a constant conflict between my heart said I wanted to be a teacher, and everything I had done led me to you need to be an executive. I hated being an executive. I hated running
I
companies.
can see why, because you're such
Yeah.
a comedy act.
Yeah.
You
Yes.
bring humor everywhere you go, so it makes sense.
It cost me a few clients at times. Okay, my sarcasm cost me a client or two.
Good. I love it.
But
I love it.
it's kind of what we're saying really is if you were able to change the world as it is today, what changes would you make and why?
Yeah, boy. There are so many.
What comes
It's
to
a
mind?
big question.
Yeah, I mean,
It's really big.
The thing that really comes up for me is that we have to respect and honor the individual, and that we have to give people the rights over themselves. That what we're seeing is this move towards trying to control people, and it's really wrong. I think we have to bring love, but it's more than that. Love means really supporting people and standing in their stuff. As you know, I'm pretty political.
Yes.
And I'm pretty upset with a lot of things that have happened. And there's a whole group of people that think it's a good idea, and I don't. I don't think we ever impose our will on other people. We can put it on ourselves, but we don't have the right to put it on anyone else. And so, and that's a really tricky thing. So if I could change one thing, it would be, to try and get people to come back together and remember, we all have the same values. We do. We all really want the same thing. It just gets lost. We get seduced. Our shadows allow us to get seduced, and we start believing something. Maybe that's true or maybe that's not. And, trust yourself and listen,
Yeah.
Well, I think trust is
It's in
huge.
everything we do.
But you don't have to trust other people, because here's the thing. You can trust them to be exactly how they're going to be. Just, okay, if they show you who they are, that's who they are. That's what you trust. Now, can you handle it? Do I trust myself to handle it?
Boy,
Well, that's a biggie, right?
Yeah.
Because if you don't believe in yourself and you don't listen to yourself, it's really hard, right? You get sucked up in that world of listening to others and not listening to what's your own truth, right? I mean,
Yeah. I think the other changes I would make would be we need good Mexican food in every city in the United States.
a couple of beans on
There
there.
is some really bad Mexican food, around. 2, it's against the law to eat seafood in Chicago, any place in the Midwest. I don't know how long that fish has been dead. I'm not going to eat it. All right.
Oh, what were you going to say?
I was going to ask you a question. When COVID happened, do you feel there was obviously a huge shift in the universe, but personally, had it changed something within you through COVID?
So there's 2 parts to that question.
Yes.
Yeah, I think there was a huge shift with COVID. I think that we all got caught with where we were operating along the lines that we were safe and everything was fine and nothing was going to touch us. And all of a sudden there's something here that we can't stop, that it can take out anybody. Okay. And it really, it set the world into a fear spiral.
Yeah.
And as you know, when you're in fear, you lose a little intellectual capacity. And I think we got a little stupid. Okay. But that's, what's interesting is that we knew it was coming, yet we didn't do anything about it. They knew that we were going to face a pandemic. They were planning for it. What did it do to me? What's happened to me in the last couple of years is the dealing with mortality. That I have less years ahead of me than I have behind me. And, that's and it's not just dying. It's what's the quality of life.
Right.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful.
As you know, I had pretty significant heart surgery and some complications with my kidneys. And in the middle of COVID, I could not have my heart surgery for 2 months because I couldn't go to an operating room. There was no space because there were so many COVID patients. And I needed this heart surgery. So I had a pretty intimate relationship with COVID. I was in the hospital when no one could visit me. No one could come. All I had were nurses. And sometimes they came, sometimes they didn't. I don't know what they serve as food in hospitals, but it's not edible. Okay? It's not. I think it humbled me. That's what I think happened. I think COVID humbled me, and it brought home how important my relationship. I lost some people that I really love. They're gone. And I have many people that lost people that they loved. And, did that have to happen? Did we have to lose 1 million people here in this country? I don't think so.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's humility.
Yeah.
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 And do you feel that these same relationships that you had either changed or you let go?
Well, some relationships changed. Some did. In my work and what I do, as you know, I'm on the phone. I'm on with people pretty much 7 days a week, a lot of hours every day. So, there's some relationships that ended that, but I think they were just because they were at a point professionally where they could. I lost some friends more over politics than COVID.
Isn't that interesting?
Wow.
I look at the world and I believe that we have an obligation to take care of each other and do whatever we can. If one of us is suffering, that we need to try and do whatever we can. And that's not shared by everybody. A lot of people think what's mine is mine and I want as much as I can get. And I can't argue with that, but I don't share that belief. And I think it's wrong. At this point, there isn't an unlimited supply of natural resources on this planet. There's only so much water. There's only so much air. There's only so much of everything. And you can't hoard it because somebody's not going to get some if you're hoarding it. And if that's what's happening.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
Does that make sense?
True. Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Makes perfect sense. So I have
a lot of people gone.
Yeah.
They won't talk with me anymore.
Well, thank God I didn't lose you as my friend.
I know. Thank God.
I am blessed beyond.
Because we know it's been one of those last couple of years, really.
Yeah.
Relationships have changed and shifted. And like you said earlier, it's about accepting and just trusting and allowing, surrendering.
Well, yeah. In reality, what does everyone really want in a relationship?
Peace, harmony, love, fun, laughter, joy, right?
I'm going to take it to the simplest common denominator.
Of course.
They want to feel heard.
Yes.
100%. They want to feel like there's somebody there that gets them and hears them.
Yep.
And that's why coaching is so good, because we're there to hear people. But if you, men, if you want a relationship to work with a woman, make her feel heard.
Exactly.
And this is not a task, guys. It's not a task. It's not a job you do. Okay, I've heard you for 5 minutes. I need to go watch the game. Okay.
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
You hear her till she's done.
Yeah.
You give her the same respect that you would want if you're talking about something. Even if it's something that you're going, I'm not interested in this. If it's important to her, it's important.
But isn't that in every relationship too, right? Whether it's a mother-daughter, whether it's a sister, a brother, any relationship,
They wanna
right?
be
They just
heard.
All but my sister. With my sister, I don't want to do that. But everybody else, yes. Probably.
Yeah.
I think men in general have a tendency to.
I agree.
They want to move away. They don't want to be in that conversation. They don't want it to go deep. And I don't mean to generalize, because there are guys out there that are great. Okay, a lot of them. But if there's a key to success, that's one of them. And the second one is don't think that you know how to do it better than she does. Trust her. Okay, she doesn't need your advice. She just wants you to listen to her.
Yeah, that's a great one.
Do you find that there's a lot more jealousy with women than men, or are men jealous?
Do they get jealous?
Do they get jealous?
Men?
They get
Men
jealous.
Get crazed. Are you kidding? They get really jealous.
Okay, it's not for
They're
me.
nuts.
It's for other people.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. I'm not around.
Oh, no. Men get insane.
Okay.
When you look at domestic violence, that's one of the leading causes.
Yeah, well, I know that because
And a lot of it unnecessary. Some guy gets jealous and he thinks something's happened that didn't happen.
Yep.
It's different for women, though, don't you think, than men?
Well, I'm not a woman, so I haven't experienced
You're
jealousy
certainly
as a
around
woman.
women all your life. 5
You've had enough
marriages.
women in your life. You could definitely speak into that one.
I think when women experience jealousy, most of them, it creates an insecurity that manifests kind of in, what do I need to do to make this work? And with guys, they get angry.
Okay.
Right.
Now,
Okay.
that's not true. There are women that get angry about, when they get jealous. But I think in general, women tend to, okay, wait a minute, something's going on here. What do I need to do to make this work? Guys go to, this is not okay.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Camille.
I love this. I think it's so awesome.
And I don't mean to generalize, because it's not true for all guys.
No.
No, I'm
we're
sure
just,
not.
Absolutely.
It's only the really bad ones.
All
We
right.
all know who they are.
I
Yeah,
have
we
another.
sure do.
I have another great question. If God could speak to you, what's the message He wants you to know?
If God could speak to me,
What would be the message He wants you to know?
Well, you've got an assumption in there that God can't speak to me. And,
Very good. You're a good listener.
yes. I can tell you the message that I do get from the divine. And that is that our focus today has to be on raising the vibrational level. That if we stay focused on raising the vibrational level of our consciousness at this point, that the planet will be okay. That all that's happening is that we've had so much fear, and it's just pulled people into, a hole. So that's where my focus is. And when I say that, my job is to be that elevator, to be the one that elevates the vibrational level of the people I'm around, to try and take them. And that's why I want to convey love. That's why I want to convey trust and respect. And I don't mean to paint myself as this perfect guy, because look, I lose it. I have all the same issues as anybody else, but I don't hang on to them.
Yep.
And 2, I work really hard to get through them, because you know what?
It's not worth it.
We have to take responsibility for what we're doing to the planet.
That's exactly
And
right.
it's not just the environment, it's the spiritual and emotional environment that we create. You know, I have clients that are just so needy and desperate that they're constantly putting their needs on everybody else. That's tough on people.
Oh, yeah.
Or that are so unhappy and frustrated and constantly putting that out there. Well, that negative energy, you know, when you're around someone like that, what happens? You tell them to go fix the toilet.
Yeah. I got that one down. I'm busy. Gotta hang up. I have to go to the toilet and clean it. What does Camille say?
Camille says, God will be saying, you have a lot of work to do, and I want you to know that I am here to help you.
And you are blessed. Woo, woo. Camille is a very special friend of ours.
She's amazing.
So that's why she just responded to your question.
To your question.
Yeah. And so I have a question for you.
Uh-oh.
Now I know you have a beautiful granddaughter that you've been blessed with.
She is beautiful.
What would you tell her? What would be something or two things that you would want her to know that you want to leave her with? What would it be?
Well, one, no matter what they say on the first date, don't take your clothes off. I don't care if they're laying out the I love you thing, okay? Don't buy it. They don't know you well enough. I would want her to know that she's enough, that she is strong enough and smart enough to figure out everything. I'd want her to have that confidence in herself and trust and listen to herself. You know, it's all any woman needs to do is to know, look, I got it. I can take care of myself, and do that. You know, be that person. So, and in all honesty, that's probably exactly how I will be with her. Really encouraging that. I want her to have courage. I want her to believe in herself, and to know she can handle whatever's coming at her. She's smart.
Yeah. You know, and what you're saying, Jeff, it reminds me of Wayne Dyer. You know, Wayne Dyer. I remember the movie The Shift, and in the movie, he has these kids playing in the playground.
Right.
And there's a mother there that wants to go and fix and help and rescue them and, you know, make it better. And all of a sudden, Wayne Dyer says to this woman, just allow. Let them figure it out. Don't interfere. Don't interfere with their process.
Yep.
And it's so powerful because it's actually exactly what you're saying within, you know, having the courage and the strength and listening and trusting and confidence.
I think, you know, again, going back to your granddaughter, I don't know if your daughter has done any of this work. I really don't know.
She has.
Oh, she has.
I
Perfect.
Yeah.
Now, Stacy hasn't. So if you have somebody that hasn't done it, but it gets filtered.
It does.
If two people like ourselves that have really worked with Rachel since she was 5,
Little. Even younger,
you know, to really show her anger and it be okay.
Like there's healthy anger, there's healthy fear, right?
Well, you know, look, it's my daughter's child.
Yes.
I can't tell her how to parent it. And I put what I had into that. I trust my daughter has my values and understands those. And I think she's smart too. Remember, we project all over our children our insecurities, our fears.
Yep.
We project all the mistakes we made, Rochelle.
You saying Rochelle for a reason?
I'm speaking for myself as a parent. We do. We're sitting there and we're looking at them and we're thinking about, oh my God, what if they do this? What if they do that? Because we did it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because we made a stupid mistake, because we did something. And here's the thing. Benny Jane, my granddaughter, is going to do stupid things.
True.
Yep.
Okay. My job is to make sure that she trusts herself enough to be able to make good choices on that. And when she does get in trouble, she can handle it.
Yeah.
And isn't that all we can do?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I've really tried to stop projecting on my children. As you know, my son he's a load. It's I've been projecting on it my whole life, and
No.
it's very, very difficult. And anyone that they just, how do you do that? Well, this is at the heart of acceptance. If your child makes a choice to be a certain way, you reach a point at a certain age, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
It's true.
And I think that's what a good, being a parent's all about, right? Whether it's you don't have a child, like I have a dog. She's my little child.
Which is a child. Your dog is a child.
That I can project onto her too, right? It's
Yeah.
the same thing. We can project onto anybody what we think should be the way it should be, and it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Does not work.
Absolutely.
Well, I've come to believe that children are, for parents, are really a great place to look for your shadows, because whatever you're afraid they're going to do, whatever you're getting angry with them, it's your stuff. They're like the perfect
Amen.
reflection.
Yeah.
That's why I love this work.
Oh,
Obviously.
freedom.
Yeah.
Yes.
A lot of freedom and peace.
Yeah. So
Can I ask you guys a question?
sure.
Sure.
You like it when I reverse it? Huh?
Absolutely.
You know, I had a feeling you may do something different, but go for it.
We're happy to answer.
So you're doing these podcasts. What do you hope to achieve? What do you want to make happen in the world?
Oh my God. I want people to come on here and listen to other people's stories and get inspired and know that there's hope for them and that it's a community that's going to support them. And there's a lot of safety and there's a lot of love from the both of us because our hearts are really in it. And I think stories are so empowering for people to feel, wow, I'm not alone. And if she can do it, he can do it. That gives me hope. I can do it too.
Yeah. And I think where we got the title Together We Rise is that's what we really want for not only ourselves, for anyone that's in the world that needs something to lift them up and feel that they're connected. We want to be that resource for them. We want to be that,
I'm just talking. I'm making sure she says certain things.
No,
Yeah.
No,
she likes to do that. As you know, we're so close. She feels she can answer my questions. But I really feel like it's a warm place for people to come to maybe hear something, they're having a bad day. And then all of a sudden they listen to this podcast that we're having with you, Jeff. And maybe you said something, that sparked them or that gave them hope, gave them some kind of direction or,
showing them the work that we
showing them the way if they don't know the way themselves, giving them options and opportunities.
Well, the reason I ask is because I see this as an opportunity to raise the vibrational level of the planet.
Absolutely.
What you guys are doing is you're creating a place where people can hear things and maybe see a piece of themselves and maybe hear a piece of wisdom that's inside them that they can't connect with.
Yeah.
And I want to acknowledge and recognize you for that. It's as you know, I've been doing that kind of thing for a lot of years, and I love it when someone says they put their money where their mouth is. You guys are putting your money where your mouth is, and trying to do something. And I don't hear you asking for anything. What I hear you doing is trying to shift things. Well, not during this, okay? I know afterwards you're going to call me and you're going to want to borrow money, but okay.
We'll get in the canoe together. No, I just, the other thing is too, I think the more, like you're saying too, Jeff, it's great that you're saying it, the more vibrationally high we are, the more light we bring, the higher the consciousness goes. And it's perfect because we're out there to do that, as well as obviously you have been out there doing this in your way. And God knows the planet needs all of us.
Yeah, totally. Without a doubt.
For a long time, you guys have been talking about doing something like this. And I'm just really glad. One, I'm honored that I'm here with you and that I can support you. You know how much I love you both. And you're kind of extended family for me. So to see you living your dream. I know this is your dream, and to see you living it and making it happen is it's fun. It's a lot of fun. And what I will do periodically is come on, because I know all the dirty stories about you guys. I will share every single one of them. Okay. So don't get high and mighty.
The dirty duty stories.
I know them all.
Yeah, you do. That is very true.
I feel so blessed that Debbie, may she rest in peace, brought us all together in a community of so much love.
Oh my God.
And
heart, love, depth.
Hard work too.
Depth.
I mean,
depth,
really.
Depth of the soul.
Yeah. Yep. And even though she's not here, she's
physically, here. Physically, right.
She's here.
And we know that all of us.
We never would have met you. We wouldn't have had this kind of connection and be a part of our family as well. So
we thank
what happens,
you.
Remember, what happens is if it happens, it was supposed to happen.
Yes.
100%.
Yes. Absolutely.
So we want to thank you for coming and sharing your wisdom, your heart, and your fun stories.
And what is the thing that they want if they want to get our?
So if we have an ebook for people that are listening. It's a free ebook. So what you can do is Nim, our social media guru, will put in the comments the ebook, and all you have to do is click it, and you will get it. And that's what you can do just for listening. We give a free ebook.
It's really nice.
Really cool.
It is.
And
I'm here anytime you guys need me.
Aw.
Well, we know that.
We love you.
We really love you so much.
Is there a song you want to sing us out with?
What?
What about a joke?
No, he has a good voice. You have a good voice.
How about a good story?
Okay. Go ahead. Good story.
Should I tell them the story of the cruise?
I don't know which story. There's a lot of stories.
Mary's first cruise with us.
Yeah, you should share that story.
Yeah, go ahead.
That's a
go
good
for
story.
it.
It's a funny story, and I'm sure happened to many people out there.
My current wife and I went on a cruise with Debbie. She did a whole big thing, and it was my wife's first time traveling with me, doing the work I was doing with Debbie. And we had a stateroom, and we had a long night, and we were sleeping together. And I got up in the morning, and I went to go to the bathroom, and she looked over at the bed, and there was this big brown stain. And she's going, "Oh God, I barely know this guy," So then I come back to the bed, and she goes, "Is everything okay?" And I go, "What do you mean?" She said, "Well, are you feeling okay?" And I said, "I'm feeling okay." And I pull back the sheet, and I see it, and I go, "Oh, I fell asleep on the mint." my poor girlfriend at the time, fiance, she was in horror.
She thought you shit in the bed.
She did. She was convinced.
Oh God!
And it was a mint that they leave on your bed when on a cruise. Right. It's a dark chocolate, mint.
We were next door.
Well, you should have seen my leg. It was covered in that stuff.
That's a great
I love the way to end it.
Which is funny, which is what we are all about. So I
love you both. Thank you. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So I just want to read one more thing.
And then we'll let you go. Go ahead.
It's all about love. Yeah.
Let's show him what it looks like.
Oh. I don't know if you could see it.
Love.
It's small.
I can't see it.
Okay. All right.
All right. So I'll read it. May love enter your life and fill my heart and soul. May the magic of love always inspire you to radiate warmth and caring to all those who touch your life. And
That's you, Maloney. That's
you have touched our life in so many ways.
And I just love the humor part. God, if we're in a place
Right,
and we're
we
like in
pick up a
this,
phone,
and then you're turn it around and make us laugh.
You are the best. You are the best.
Which is your definitely
Remember,
formula.
God is a stand-up comic. He has to be to deliver the lives that we're living.
It is so true. But don't worry, we'll have you on again, I'm sure.
You want to say what we do?
We have our workshop, everybody. It's coming August 8th. And Nim will show that somewhere, right, Nim? You're going to show that? Our upcoming workshop, if you want to
join us for 7 weeks.
Can join us. It'll be in the comment. There it is.
Boop. Sharon Moore. Hi, Sharon.
Hello. All right. So, Jeff, we love you.
Oh my God, we so adore you, and we thank you from oh God, the bottom of both our hearts
and our farts. No, just kidding.
No, the farts.
You know it's mutual.
I know.
We do.
I know.
And thanks for spending the time, and thanks for all your wisdom, because I know and we know that anyone that listens to this is going to get whatever they need.
Jeff is the perfect person for me as I've gotten old, even as a couple of years younger, but not that much, how to say it. It's so good to communicate with somebody who is achy and just has a little bit of a problem with their legs. And it just gives me hope that I'm not alone.
Yeah. And isn't that
Rochelle, I fake all of this stuff so you feel better.
Thanks, Jeff.
Anyway, we love you. We love you
too much.
And we will chat with you soon.
Yep.
Thank you, sweetheart.
Mwah.
We love you.
Bye.
Bye, honey.